error prone and you might want to revert back to your original code. And this is where version control comes into play. It automatically tracks every minute change in your project and allows you to revert back to a previous version, no matter how many times you change your files. Another awesome thing that Git allows us to do is that it allows some people to work together on the same project at the same time without disturbing each other files. Collaboration becomes easier with Git. Team members can work on different features easily and merge their changes. Next slide, please. Uh, Moving forward, after Git comes GitHub. So, what is GitHub? Firstly, GitHub is a web-based service for version control using Git. Basically, it is a social networking site for developers. You must have heard of open source. So, GitHub is basically a platform for that. Using GitHub, you can look up at other people's code, identify issues with their code, and even propose changes. This also helps you in improving your code. On a lighter note, it is a great place to show off your projects and get noticed by potential recruiters. So Git versus GitHub, like the question comes, दोनों एक ही नहीं होता है? So no, एक ही नहीं होता है. These are two different things. Let's explain you the difference between the two. Like I told you, Git is a VCS, version control system, whereas GitHub is a hosting service for Git repositories. Git is installed and maintained on your local system, but GitHub is exclusively cloud-based so that you can share your code with others. It's like when you will get working on these things, you will get a better understanding of the difference. So yeah, here comes the installation process. For Linux users, there's the command you can run on the terminal, similarly for the Mac users, and this is the link provided. I will actually suggest you all to try and install it on your systems. You can also like follow any YouTube tutorial for doing it. Next slide, please. So yes, do install it on your system, and that is the first step. That is the first step to becoming a developer. So yeah, all the best for the journey.
Okay, so
Ashlesh, yeah.
yes. So installing it is very easy, especially for Linux and Mac users. For Windows users, it will take maximum 15 minutes and it will be installed in your systems. So before we go further, let's just get ourselves acquainted with few terminologies. So what is a repository? So a repository or a Git repository or a repo is a folder that you have told Git to help you track your file changes. Okay, so basically it's a folder which is initialized with Git. And repositories can be of two types: local repositories or remote repositories. Local repo is the repo that is stored on your computer, it's not accessible to the outer world. Whereas remote repository is something which is the central repo from where people from all over the world can pull or push changes. Pull means that they can copy the contents of the repo in their local system, or uh, they can push the changes they want to edit, whatever contents they want to edit. They can push that content to that central repo or the remote repo. Okay, so this is a basic flowchart workflow of open source. Um, Suppose we have the original repo or the remote repo. So we fork that repo in our GitHub account. Okay, so fork means that we copy that repo in our GitHub account. And after that, we clone that contents of that repo in our local system. After cloning the contents of the remote repo in our system, we make the changes that we want, and then we push those changes to our forked repo, which is in our GitHub account, and then we make a pull request of those changes to the original repo or the remote repo. So this might seem a little bit overwhelming for you right now, but we will be covering every topic of this in the coming time. Okay. So just understand this, that there is a remote repo from where we copy the contents of that repo to our system. We make some changes and then we push those changes again to the remote repo for the maintainers of that repo, so that the maintainers of the repo can merge those changes to the original source code. Okay, so too much theory, right? So let's get some hands-on. Uh, just wait for some time.
So,
Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So I have created a folder called Git session. Okay, it has a text file which says hello there. It's a greet.txt, and now we'll start with our first git command. Okay, so we want that this folder now should be initialized as a git folder. Okay, so for that I have opened the command terminal. This is Windows PowerShell. I prefer this over the. So this can be downloaded from Microsoft Store. You can search for Windows Terminal and you can download it from here. And after right clicking on the folder that you want to initialize or the folder that you want to work on, you can see there is this button called which says Open in Windows Terminal. Okay, so if I open this here, now you can see that first we were in user admin. Now we are in desktop git session, right? So now we are in our folder so that so now we can make the changes. Okay. Right. So we are going to start with our first git command and it's called git init. So what git init does, it creates an empty git repository, or it can initialize an existing folder as a git repo. So two things can be done. Either it's an empty folder and you initialize with git, or it is an existing folder. It has some contents in it, and then also you can initialize it as a git repository. What git init does, it creates a subdirectory called .git. It's not visible to you, but it's there, and this subdirectory has all the information, uh, necessary information that tells the system that this folder is a git repo. So the command is simple. We just write git init. Okay, so now it says initialized empty git repository in git session, right? Now there is another command which is git status. Git status checks the status of untracked files from the repository. What that means, we will be seeing that in a minute. Okay, so it says untracked files greet.txt in red color if you are seeing it. What untracked files is that we have not pushed this file, or we have not done anything on this file. It's untouched. And now what we want is that we want this file to be pushed to a remote repository. That is what we want. We want the contents of this folder git session to be pushed into a remote repository. So there are it has a few processes. So first of all, we are in our working directory right now. We have some files that are untracked. Okay. And now we want those files to be moved to a staging area. So what exactly is a staging area? A staging area is basically where we have our content that we want to be pushed, which is, suppose there are two files, greet1.txt and greet2.txt, but I want only greet2.txt to be pushed. So the staging area should contain only greet2.txt, right? So how can we add our greet.txt file to the staging area? It's very simple. Just one command which says git add. Now, if I write git add and I just write the name of the file that I want to push to the staging area. Okay, so now our staging area contains greet.txt. So now if I write git status, so it has a new file, greet.txt in green color. It says changes to be committed. What is commit? We'll see that in a minute. So now we just have, from our working directory, we had greet.txt. Now we have moved that greet.txt to our staging area, right? So another thing, what if we have like 50 files? Are we going to manually add all of them? Git add file 1, git add file 2, file 50. No, that's not going to happen. So a simple command, if you want to add all of the files from your working directory to the staging area, you can write git add dot. That's it. Okay, and it will add all the files in your working directory to the staging area. Now, coming to another command, that is git commit. Okay, so you can see here it is written changes to be committed. What does commit mean? So commit is basically a tool which records the changes in your repository. Or in layman terms, it is commits are the snapshots of your projects. Okay, so staging and committing are correlated. Staging allows us to continue making changes to the repository and commit, and when we want that these changes should be shared with the version control system, should be shared with Git, then commit allows us to record these changes. Uh, each commit has its own unique ID so that we can differentiate between each commit, even if they have the same content. And we can, so the advantage of commits are, suppose you want to, you have done some changes, but but you realize that this is not what you want. So what can you do? So you can revert back to the commit that you made previously, or not even previously, like even the last fifth commit or the last 10th commit. You can do that easily. And uh, even if you want, you're working, suppose you're working on a project and somebody wants that I want to work on the third commit. So that's very easy to do. So this is the main advantage of version control system. Commit allows us to take snapshots of the project to record the changes that we have done in the repository, right? Okay. Okay, so now we'll see what is the command we have to add for git commit. So for that, it's a command that git commit -m, and then in double quotes, you write the commit message. What is a commit message? A commit message is a unique message that you give to your commit so that you can easily identify the commits that you have made. Now, uh, messages should be very crisp, right? And it should be to the point. It should not be vague. This is some good practices that you have to follow. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it is a good practice that your commit message should be crisp, should not be vague, and it should be in imperative, right? It should not be like if you want, I want to add greet.txt. So it should not be like added greet.txt. It should be add greet.txt. So in this commit, I am going to, I want to add my greet.txt file. So message, I'll write add greet.txt. Okay. So now you can see here, it is written that one file is changed. And one file means that in this commit, we have changed one file which was in our staging area, right? So now moving on. Okay, I was talking about how we want to push our changes from our local repo to the remote repo. So where is that remote repo, right? We don't know where it is. And how will this folder know where is the remote repo? So that is done by a command called git remote. So before moving on to that command, I'll just I'll just initialize a repo in my GitHub account so that I'll take it that as a remote repository, and we'll push the changes from our local repo to this remote repo. Okay, so this is my GitHub account, and we'll we're going to create a repository on my GitHub account right now. So it's very easy. You see this plus sign, and you click new repository. So it asks you to fill in certain points. Um, okay, so you can see that I am the owner of this repository, and it ask me to give a name to this repository. I'll give it a name called Git session. Right. So if you want, you can give an description to that repository, but I'll skip that for now. There is an option to make that repository private, but we want the code to be visible to everyone. So I'll make the repository as public, and just leave this. So I'll just create the repository, right? So right now our repository is empty, okay? It does not have anything. There are some commands that are written here. So what we want to create a new repository. No, we have an existing repository. Yes. And do we want to push it to this remote repository? Yes, we want to do that. So it asks, it tells us some commands. You can see here, which is git remote add origin, and then this URL. What is this URL? This URL is basically the URL of the repository that we have just created. Okay. And origin is basically the name of the remote repository. So origin is the remote repository, and we have the URL of this origin. Now, what is git remote? Right, git remote add. So git remote add basically explicitly adds a remote repo for your local repo, the local repo that we have created in our local system called git session. I want that it should be linked to this remote repository that I've created in my GitHub account. So if I do that, if I specify a remote for my local repository, then I can pull or push changes from this remote repository. I can push the changes from my local repo to this remote repo, or I can pull the changes from this remote repo to my local repo. Remote repo is basically stored on a code hosting service like GitHub. There are also other services, but we are just concerned with GitHub right now. Okay, so I'll just copy this command and I'll open my terminal. Okay, so the command was successful. So now we have added a remote, the URL of the remote repo to my local repo. So now we can push the changes from the local repo to the remote repo. Okay, now coming to push. So first of all, you can see here. Okay. So I have one file, greet.txt, and I want to push it to my remote repo. What I have done till now, I have transferred greet.txt from my working directory to the staging area. And now, and then we have committed it by a message called add greet.txt. And now I want that greet.txt to be pushed to my remote repo. So we'll push that by using a command called git push. And here you can see it, there is written git push, this command git push to origin main, right? So I'm just going to copy this and paste this here. Okay, so we have not specified what is main. Okay, so for now, don't get overwhelmed by what is written here. This will be taken in the coming slides. What is branch and what is main, what is master. So don't get overwhelmed by these terms. Just understand that we are creating a branch called main. We have done that. And then we'll push our greet.txt to this main. So you can see here, it's written that 3 done, 100%, 100%. So I think it's should be here. Right. So we have pushed our changes from our local repo to our remote repo successfully. You can see that greet.txt is here in our git session remote repo. And if you open this, you're going to see that there is a message called hello there, right? So we have successfully pushed changes from our local repo to the remote repo. Okay, so right. So let's just quickly recap what we have done till now. We have initialized a folder on our local system as a Git repo. Then we have checked the status of the untracked files. In our case, it was just one file, greet.txt. Then we have added that file to our staging area. And then we have committed that file by a unique message called add greet.txt. Then we have added the remote URL of our remote repository to the local repository so that changes can be pushed from our local repository to the remote repository. And then we have pushed it using git push command. Okay, so I think it's clear now. The next part of this session will be taken up by Apurv. Apurv, over to you.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm Apurva Sukla, member of COPS. So next slide, please. Yeah. So one thing that you heard, like whenever a developer like developing something, he always like speaks about fork or cloning. I forked a repo, I cloned a repo. Okay, so what it means actually? Okay, so first thing is that fork and clone is a different thing. Fork is actually an action of copying any repo into your own account. As Lisa said earlier, it will like create a copy on the hosting services like GitHub. Okay, it will just create a copy into your own account. But what actually is clone? Clone actually copies the repo inside your local machine. These two are different things. Okay, and one main thing is also there is that the clone action includes like a command to run it, but the fork does not include it. It is an action, but clone is a process. Okay, so here in chart, as there is a central repository, imagine this is a repository, and we like named it upstream because I will explain it later, but upstream is simply a name we call to the original repository. Okay, now we forked it, a copy is created inside your account. Okay, now imagine if we clone this repository, then a copy will be created into your local computer. not into your account. Next. Okay, so now what is git fork? So forking is concept while cloning is a process. I already explained. Now what is forking? Forking is just the copying any repository into your account. Okay. Now also I mentioned that forking is done on GitHub account while cloning is done using Git, and all these things are mentioned. But one important thing is that if you want to do some changes into your local repo, what will you do? You will just change, you will add, and you will commit. The change is done. If you want to do some changes into your forked repo, what will you do? You will do some changes, you will add, you will commit, you will push. But what if you want to change, do some changes in the main repo from which you have forked the repo in which you are working? Then you have to create a pull request. I will explain it in detail later on, but I'm just giving you overview that what is the main difference. The main difference is there, either you have to gain the writing access, okay, editing access in the repo, or you have to create a pull request there. But in the forked, you always have that access. Next slide, please. Okay, next. Yeah. So I was talking about remote and what is upstream. Okay, so here I am. I will explain what is remote and what is upstream. Okay, so a remote in Git, sorry, a remote in Git is a common repository that all team members use to exchange their changes. Okay, this is a repository that is hosted on the any cloud services. In most cases, such remote repository is stored on a code hosting services like GitHub or an internal server. In contrast to local repository, a remote typically does not provide a file tree of the project's current state. Okay, and on the other hand, what is upstream? Upstream is actually the original repo that you are going to fork or you are going to clone. Okay, yeah, upstream can be remote, and these are some commands. Git remote minus v. Git remote minus v actually shows all the remotes that you have. Minus v is a verbose flag. It will show all the uh, remotes along with the bookmarks. And git remote add, as you used earlier, it will add a separate remote. Yeah, you can add separate remotes in your local repo, because just remote is a repository that is synced to your local repository, right? Okay, next is git remote rm. This will delete the remote, any remote. And git remote rename, you can also rename your remote using this command. Next. Okay, so as Aslesa said earlier that something about branch, so I'm explaining it. What is branch? So one thing is that in technical words, if I'm talking about in technical words, so Git branch are effectively a pointer to a snapshot of your changes. When you want to add new features or a bug, no matter how big or small, you spawn a new branch, you will do some changes, you will add, you will commit, you will push. Okay, this is normal workflow. Let me give you an example. Why we need a branch. Okay, imagine there is a main repo where some changes are maintainer is doing some changes, and you also want to contribute in that repo, and you also want to do some changes in a separate way. But if you both do the changes in the same branch, means you both do the changes in the same workspace. Consider the branch workspace here. Mm, okay, then what will happen? This will create conflicts, right? Imagine the first one is working on audio system, second one is working on image system. Okay, and this both can create conflicts in any file. So you can create a separate workspace, means all the things, all the files, all the history will be created into your workspace, and now you will work on that branch or workspace. Okay, when you will be completing that your changes, you can ask the maintainer that please merge my branch into your main branch, and then your all the changes will be merged into the main branch. Means this is just a separate workspace where you can work separately without interfering in other changes. Okay, and some commands are, you can create branch using git branch and the branch name, and you can switch between branches using git checkout and branch name, and also you can switch to the previous branch using git checkout slash. Okay, and what does git branch do? Git branch shows all the branches you have in your repo. And what does git branch minus the branch do? It will soft delete your branch. Soft delete means it will first check if there is any unmerged commit there. If there is any, it will not, and if there is no, it will delete that branch. And also minus capital D will like hard delete the branch, like it will not check if there is any unmerged commit or not. Next, please. Yeah, so before this slide, I want to show you demo. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible? Am I audible? Anyone please
Yes,
confirm?
it's visible.
Yeah. Okay. So like let's go to my GitHub account. Wait. And as there is an like repository that was posted by Aslisa on her account. Okay. So consider that the original repository. What I want to do, I want to fork that repository. I want to do some changes, and I want to commit that repository, that those changes into that. Means in other words, I want to contribute in that repository. Okay. So let's find Aslisa. Aslisa, the name was Good Session, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this was the repository that was posted by Aslisa. Okay. What I'm going to do, forget. Now it will create a copy of that repo inside my account. See, this is a separate repo. Sukapur Git session. This is a separate repo, but that was separate. See, okay, this is an original repo, means upstream, and this is a separate repo that is copy inside my account. Now I want to clone this. So for cloning, what you will do, you can use HTTPS like this. You can use this also, or the better is GitHub CLI. I'm not going there, but this is better. You can use that. You will just copy this code, and I'm using Ubuntu, so I'm using I'm using bash here, normal terminal. So the command is git clone and the URL of the repository that you want to clone. I want to clone the forked repo, so I gave the URL of my forked repo. Sorry, I have to go to desktop. I don't want to use the cd command, so okay. I will also show you how to open this. So how to open that? You will go to the desktop. I'm using Linux, so many of you can get it. Desktop, and you are on the desktop. Here you can use open in terminal. This is a formal terminal of Linux or Ubuntu. Okay, I'm here. I will again clone that repo, git clone, and this is the repo. Yeah, so that is here. You can see that like git session is here. What ls command will do is it will show all the like files that is here, and after cloning this file is here, git session. I am using ls because I don't know why it's taking time. Yeah, okay, I will show you desktop, and after cloning I have my local. See, this file is here. This new repository is actually cloned into my local machine. Now I want to do some changes. Means I have to do some changes into my local machine. So I have to open it into some like code editor. You can use anything, Notepad or something. I'm using Visual Studio Code. Many of the developers use Visual Studio Code. And if you want, we can provide the installation link also, but it's just a note editor. Okay, I'm not using like anything special in it. Okay, so I'm just going here and opening it. This command will open Visual Studio Code into this directory. Okay, You will install, yeah, I suggest you to install VS Code and use this command into any repo, and you will see. So I am here in this repo in my local machine. Okay, I want to do some changes. So what I will do, but before doing that, I want to show you something. First is like I talked about remote, right? So I want to show you what are the remotes here. So get remote minus v. See, origin. Origin is a general name. I talked about it. Okay, that is used for remote, and this is the remote. Why this is remote? Because I have cloned this repo from this URL. Okay, that was the forked. Okay, and what are the branches here? If you want to see, so only one branch is there, main branch. Yeah, right. So first, I suggest, yeah, basically there are two ways to do some changes. You can create a new branch, you do some changes and add commit, or you can like do some changes into that same branch. But I suggest creating a new branch always. Like all the organizations, all the like maintainers prefer using separate branches. Okay, so first let's create different branch. Okay, and I will just name it new. Okay, let's keep it simple. So get checkout. What checkout to? I will go to the new branch. Yeah. So I am switched to the new branch. Means a new workspace is created. You can't say it here. You can say that I'm not seeing anything here. Okay. So just do git branch. You will see. In git branch now star is it at new, not main. Means you are at the new branch, not at main branch. If you want to go to the main branch, I have said it earlier that if you want to go to the previous branch, what will you do? Git branch slash right. Uh, I don't know. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Git checkout. I just misspelled. Git checkout slash yeah. So you are again in the main branch, and if you want to see in which branch you are, see again you are in the main branch. This is showing that on which branch you are. So we want to change, do some changes in the new branch. So let's again go there. So I'm on the new branch again. Let's do some changes. I have did change, and I'm going to add it and commit it so that I can push it to my forked repo or remote. Okay, so git add dot. And yeah, one more thing is that in the terminal, if you want to like uh, use multiple commands in same line, you can use this git commit minus m. Yeah, new changes, right? New commit is created, and now just let's push it. Okay, where you want to push, in the origin, okay, remote, and in which branch, and that branch will be new. Let's do it. Yeah, that will be pushed. So let's see if that is in our forked repo. Yeah, I guess. Wait. No, I am doing it. As we push the changes in the new branch, so we have to switch to the new branch here also. Why it's taking too much time? Yeah, let's switch to the new branch. One more thing is that whatever branch you created, it will be synced to this using when you use git push. As you push this branch here, so I'm going to green.txt. So see here, hi there is here because I pushed it. Now, but this is only changed in my forked repo. The organization or the maintainer doesn't know what I have changed because this is changed in my like copied repo. So I have to create a pull request. Why we have to create a pull request? Because I have said earlier that if you want to change something into the upstream, what you have to do? Either you have edit access or you have to create a pull request, right? So let's create a pull request. Contribute, open pull request. Yeah, right. I'm here. New changes. Please merge my PR. Create pull request. Now, what is pull request? Yeah, you can ask that. So pull request is just a like you are asking the maintainer to uh, pull your changes. Okay, you are not pulling. The maintainer will pull. You are just asking it. It's just a way. So Aslisa, please merge my PR. You can
Yeah,
share
sure.
your screen if you
Yeah.
want.
Okay. So here we are. This is my Git session repo, and we have a pull request called new changes by Apurv. And here we can see which file he has changed. It is create.txt, and he has added one line called hi there, right? So I'll merge this pull request, confirm merge. Okay, so here you can see it calls merged commit into the main branch. And now coming to the main branch. Now if you see this create.txt, you'll see that this line is added. So we have successfully merged changes from Apurv's branch to the main branch.
Okay, right. So after this, please share the slide. First, I want to explain
Yeah,
them what is
yeah, sure.
merge conflict. Wait. Yeah. Next slide. Next. Uh, yeah. So before going to the next demo, I want to explain some of the keywords. Okay, what is fetch, what is pull, and what are these words that are usually used. So first thing is that what does fetch do in Git? Okay, so in simple line as written, fetch updates all the remote track branches in local repository. Or we can say that the git fetch command download commits, files, and references from a remote repo into your local repo. Okay, means it will just download the commits, but it will not force you to do these changes into your repo. It will just download those. Okay, uh, and how it do it? It will create a separate workspace for this, and it will separate your code. Okay, what I am talking is fetching is what you do when you want to see what everybody else has been working on. Yeah, the main motto behind the fetching is this, because it is not changing any of your code. So what is the main idea behind this is you are downloading all the commits, so you are watching what everyone else is doing. So the main motto of fetch is this. On the other hand, what is pull? Okay, so pull is actually the combination of two commands. The first one is fetch and second one is merge. You saw the merge that Aslisa did earlier. That is also a merge. Okay, merge means you are merging two branches. Okay, you can merge two commits to merging. It means uh, combining two of separate changes. Okay, you can consider it like that. And the first one that pull consists of is fetching. Okay, so it will first fetch something, and then it will merge. So if you see the commands, so for fetching you use git fetch, and you have to specify the remote that you are using and from which branch you want to fetch. And git fetch minus minus all will fetch all the commits references irrespective of the remote and branch. And the second command is git pull. Git pull will pull all the changes from the remote. Okay, and if there are multiple remotes, you have to specify which from which remote you want to pull the changes, means from which remote you want to get the changes. Okay, I can give you an example. Okay, imagine Aslisa did some changes. Okay, and I want those changes into my repo. I mean, I have a copy of that repo, but if Aslisa did some change in her repo, that doesn't mean that changes will be displayed in my repo also, because that copy was created earlier. Okay, so I have to pull those changes into my repo. Okay, means we have to like combine those changes into my repo. This is what pull does. Next slide. Yeah, right. If you are talking about git pull, so yeah, merge conflict. You're watching the meme. Yeah, it's funny, right? So what is merge conflict? Yeah. So when working in Git, users can combine commits from two different branches, as I talked earlier. Though an action known as merging, files are automatically merged unless they are conflicting sets of changes. Okay. So first, let me explain what is conflicting set of changes. Conflicting set of changes means two maintainers did some changes in the same line. How can you like merge them? However, like Git do every task for you. It like resolve every task for you. But when it can't resolve, then it like create an error, and that is called the merge conflict. Okay, and this will be like generally created when two maintainers did the same changes in the same line, and you want to pull those changes into like same area. Okay, then the merge conflict will be created, that what you want in that line, the first maintenance change or the second maintenance change, right? So like let's go to the demo. I'm sharing my screen. Mm, wait.
Apur, are you there?
Think he'll join soon. Just wait 1 minutes.
Okay.
Am I audible? I'm sorry, like there was a glitch.
No, it's okay. You're audible.
uh, from which part, like voice was breaking or something?
Till you're sharing your screen. Pradhan.
Okay.
You can start from the demo of merge conflicts.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So first, what I have to show you is what like how you resolve the merge conflict. But before showing how you resolve the merge conflict, you have to create a merge conflict. So we have to do that. And as I explained earlier, merge conflict can be created if two maintainers did the same changes in the same line, and you are pulling those changes together. So I'm asking like Aslisa to do some changes in the line number 3, and I will pull those changes into my forked like repo. and I will also perform those changes or some changes in line number 3 in my local repo, but I will not pull those changes into my local repo. So there will be separate changes into local repo in line number 3 and in my forked repo in line number 3. Then I will pull in that, and that will create a merge conflict. Okay, let's do it. Aslisa, like, please do some changes in line number 3.
I've done that already.
Okay, I'm opening it. Wait, all the tabs were closed. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, see, Aslisa had like written hey in the line number 3. What I'm going to do is pull these changes into my forked repo. So for that, I have to go to my forked repo, and this is my forked repo into my account. I'm going to fetch upstream means I'm like pulling those changes into my into my account. So I have pulled, right? So into the main, what is there? A new changes there in the line number 3. Let's do some changes into my local machine in line number 3, right? So this is the change in line number 3. I said no hey, but in the like remote repo there is hey in the line number 3. Okay, so let's commit this change. Um, right, it done. Now I as I had done the change, what I want, pull the changes from like remote. Okay, and remote have the change in line number 3 and I have also a change in line number 3. This will create a merge conflict. I'm sorry, get pull. Yeah, see, there it is. There is a merge conflict. Means what it's saying is, the current change is that in the local repo, there is a current change, no hey in the line number 3, but the incoming change means you are pulling some changes, and this change says that in line number 3, there should be hey. What you want to do? So it is asking you what you want to do because Git can't resolve it. So you have to resolve it. To resolve, you just delete all these symbols there. Okay, and you do something like whatever you want. I want no hey first and then hey second, so I did it, and I'm doing get add dot and git commit. Yeah, resolving commit will create a new like resolving merge conflict will create a new commit, right? Because you are changing something in your repo. Okay, now if you want to git push origin main, right? Okay, this is a separate branch, so just do it. Yeah, there it is. This has gone to the new, and there is no like merge conflict or something because you resolved it. And so over to the slide, there is a meme. Aslisa.
Yes, I'll share.
Yeah. Yeah, so what it means, this meme means like resolving merge conflict is a harder task. Okay, you are doing it manually. So I recommend you to like keep yourself away from merge conflicts. Like always use git pull and see on the changes other developers are doing. Okay, and if you encounter any merge conflict, you will resolve like I said earlier. Over to you, Aditya. Thanks.
Is my screen visible? So, like eventually, when you start to work on bigger projects, there will be a lot of commits. So another command that we are now introducing is git log. What this allows us to do, it shows all the commits made in sequential order. Like you need to know, suppose you need to know which commit was made which changed this file. Then you can use git log with certain flags to find out. Suppose I want to know which commits were made by a certain person. So I can use this and it will tell me. Or if I use git log after certain date, then it will only show me commits after that date. Like I entered 15 October, so it will does not show me any commits before 15 October 2021. There are also like git log one line instead of very verbose information. It will just show one line, and you can also merge these flags. So now I can view a certain graph. This will show me that where which commit was made in different branches. Like these commits were made in the same branch. So like this. Another very powerful command that we are going to discuss is git rebase. Just close the folder and open another. Okay. When I'm using VS Code, I have an extension installed, git graph. This allows me to show the commits in, like there are two branches, git branch L, master and new branch. In the master branch, after two commits, I branched off to create a new branch named new branch. And on the master, while working on this, I added a new commit. If I were to merge new branch here, then we'll create a new commit. I don't want that. So what I can do is I can go to new branch and I can rebase my commits. I can rebase the existing commits on the master branch. So when I enter this, you can see like they are in a sequential order. And now if I view the history, I can see all 5 commits here. Before this, it was before this it was there were 3 and now there are 5. So what we use git rebase to have a clean commit history, and it allows us to replace the existing commits with new commits. Also take care that git rebase can be a destructive command which can alter the history completely and should be used carefully. Like what rebase does, it takes the feature and replaces these 2 commits with certain 2 other commits and modifies the history of the feature branch so that the existing commits made to the master branch are also there. Merge versus rebase. What merge does is it creates a new commit here with all the changes made in these commits. What rebase does is it changes these 2 commits to other commits. Also, there's another thing I want to talk about was GitHub student developer pack. But you can use this. You can sign up for this. This will allow you to get a lot of features and access to certain software that are usually paid and cost quite a few, quite a certain amount, and you can get these for free. Like you can get Bootstrap Studio, or you can get domain hosting, your own domain names.
Okay, so
Anyone has any doubts, they can raise their hands. We'll unmute them.
yes, so I think we are over. So yes, so Git is a very powerful tool and get the ground running. These are the resources that we have shared in the slides. We'll be sharing these slides in the Discord channel of our COPS group. So you can see these resources if you want to learn advanced Git also. And thank you.